Hello, my friends. Jerry Rosa here in the Rosa Stringworks Man Cave with Bill Webb again today. I like your shirt there.
Yeah.
What, you got your big old deer on there. I found a skeleton that looks a whole lot like that. I had it down there in the barn hanging there, and I have a feeling it's on a guitar somewhere now. Anyway, I got a few things for you today. We started a new project, and I've just got a couple little short videos to show you. So let's go to video number 1 first. Well, my friends, someone asked about the pawpaw trees and whether I got any pawpaws this year. You can see there are no pawpaws on these trees. These are look at the giant leaves, the ones with the big leaves hanging down, those are pawpaws. And there's a bunch of them growing here now. There was a big tree here, and that big tree did produce pawpaws, but these are not quite big enough yet. That one down there, it's probably getting close. These others maybe next year or a year after. I mean, maybe that one next year and these maybe the year after or something, maybe, if we're lucky. They kind of grow in clusters like this whenever they grow, but there's several here. I would say there's at least a half dozen growing here, maybe more than that, maybe a dozen. Maybe in a year or two we'll get some. So that's what a pawpaw looks like, or at least that leaf. For as tiny as a tree as they are, they have the biggest leaves, giant leaves. So, and they grow almost always near water, along a creek bank or river bank or something like that, or within maybe 100 yards of a river. I don't think they get much further than 100 yards away from a river. Pretty, like in that good damp bottom ground they might grow in, but most of the time it's fairly close to water. And as far as our new project goes, here's a little short video about that. Well, you can see I have this thing loaded up, the thing that caused my last injury, though I have done work on it since then, and I'm hoping that won't happen again. I have put restrictor valves that I made in these lines, and it slowed it way down. It may be too slow. Yeah, I went real conservative first. I can always make the holes in the restrictors bigger. I made them pretty tight, but got a project in mind way back there, about a half mile back, in the middle of the field where those 2 springs are coming out of the ground. While everything's dry, right now everything's 100% dry, those springs are dried up and everything, I want to take this, dig a flat bottom in there, make the circle nice and smooth and round, and then I want to lay rock up around those while it's dry. It's supposed to start raining next week according to Sue, so this is a good day to do that. I might be joined by Bill Webb a little later. Well, my friends, we're back here in the field, and this is one of the springs. Presently, it's a wet weather spring. Years ago, it was probably a full-time spring based on all the stuff I find around it and the way that they had it dug out. I want to dig it out a little bit right now, maybe only 5 or 6 inches deeper, and square off the sides, and then I'm going to lay rock up around it, and I'm going to put gravel on the bottom and rock around it so that whenever it does rain again, it'll look nice. And plus I want to be able to, keep it so that when we're brush hogging, we know where the hole is, Well, my friends, what you couldn't see is that there's a glare on that windshield. I couldn't even hardly see what I was trying to dig. And that thing is so jerky, it has no weight in the base of it. It needs weight, like it needs 1,000 pounds of weight on it to control the power it has. It has way more power than it has weight, and it just jerks you around. It's so unpleasant. I wouldn't really recommend one of these small ones for anybody. I really wouldn't. I didn't pay much for it, and I'm glad. I screwed up there, didn't have the camera on, but Bill and I just spent about 10 minutes down there or so just digging out the bottom of that and making it more or less flat. There's quite a bit of river gravel or creek gravel in the bottom, which is good. That'll let the water come up through better. I'm going to go get a scoop full of creek gravel out of the creek, and I'm going to dump a big scoop full in here and spread it out, make it smooth. And then we're going to stack rocks up around it, around the perimeter. But thank you, Bill, for helping me dig that out. Yep, we got some progress made there. I felt like I needed to get going on it before the water returns, you know, because when the water's going through there, it's a pretty good amount of water. And just so you know, there is a pipe that is inside that hole there too that runs all the way across the field down into the creek. So whenever the water's flowing in there, it's also flowing out of there into a pipe and then going into the creek, just so you understand how that works. I got a request yesterday to talk about files, and I screwed up and didn't go get my files. So the question was, now I can't recall his name without looking at the email. I'm sorry. But regardless, he was here just a couple of weeks ago, staying at the Airbnb, and we worked on his instrument, and I gave him well, actually we didn't work on it. I just gave him some opinions of what he could do to make it a little better. And it was just a tiny bit sharp on the bass E string, and I said if you took a file and you file that back a little bit, so that effectively makes the string longer. So in other words, you file the front of the saddle off. You know, even if you're only filing it off, you know, like 0.5 millimeters, you know, just a tiny amount, it'll make a difference. And, you know, it'll make a 1 cent, 2 cents difference in your, and that's all he was off. He was off about 3 cents. So he could, in effect, make that a little bit better. So the kind of file typically that I use for something like that is just a real small file. I mean, like needle files is all it is. It's really nothing, there's nothing, you know, magical about them. Most of the needle files that you can get, or some of them you can get, are double cut files, and I like double cut files. Those are files that, instead of just having lines going in one direction, like a lot of files do, they have the files going in that angled direction, but they also have the lines cut the other angle. So there's like a double angle going on there, and they call those a double cut file. So you can get a single cut file or a double cut file and use either one for what we're talking about there, for filing that saddle. It really doesn't require anything extra special. If you happen to just already have a regular standard like mill bastard file, like a 6-inch or an 8-inch or even bigger, you could use that, although it would be awkward just because of the size. So a small file, pretty much of any kind, small file is all you really need. Now, they make the needle files in a couple of different sizes too. You get the really tiny ones, and then you get the ones that are I would call them kind of like mid-size. I prefer the mid-size style, and I don't know that they have a particular size to them. You know, I don't recall anything like that. I've just ordered them, you know, off the internet basically, and you usually get them in a whole set. There'll be round ones, and there'll be triangular ones, and flat ones, and you know, that type of thing, half rounds, stuff like that. So you just get a whole set of them, and I prefer the mid-size needle files myself for most things, though the tiny ones sometimes come in really handy. That's about the best I can tell you on the files, since I didn't go get them for an example to show you, but it really doesn't take anything particularly special to do what we were talking about in terms of filing your saddle, or your saddle back a little bit. Then let's see, the other thing I did this morning is, after I got back from the other little project, I started working on this guy's Harmony Sovereign neck reset video. So I started working on that video. To my surprise, we have 3 hours, well, 2 hours and 57 minutes to be exact. We had 2 hours and 57 minutes of raw video footage on doing that job. Now, that included doing the fret job and everything else that we did. The actual neck reset didn't take very long at all. Anyway, I just thought I'd let you know that I spent about an hour, maybe an hour and 10 minutes editing this morning. And now there's 2 hours and 51 minutes of raw footage now, or of footage, I should say, but that includes 15 minutes of finished video. So just so you know, it took me an hour and a half to get 15 minutes, or an hour and 10 minutes probably, to get 15 minutes worth of first draft video. And even that's not done, so that's just first draft. Once we get all of it, it just takes forever. It's just way longer to edit a video than you would ever believe. You try to put out a decent product. You can just put it out raw, but who wants to sit through 3 hours of raw footage? And sometimes it's me getting up to go get a hammer, or, to go get something. And it's just like there's nothing there to watch, So you have to edit them. And then you misspeak sometimes. And then, you try to cut out the part that's misspoken and put it together with something that should have some meaning. And it just takes time to do that. And honestly, it always takes longer to edit the video than it does to actually do the work. Every single time. I don't think there's ever an exception to that. It seems like it would be simple, but it's not. It's not at all. Not if you're trying to put out a decent product that people can learn from and watch. Anyway, let's go to the comments here. You got anything to add, Bill? No. You're sitting there awful quiet, buddy.
No,
I covered everything, huh? Yeah, there's nothing left to imagination.
Fish weren't biting today, so we came on back.
You went down to the...
Yeah, we were trying to fish. We were trying to fish, but they weren't cooperating, so we just came on back.
Well, he did take or catch a couple of nice fish yesterday, or maybe the day before. I'm not sure. But anyway, one was a pretty nice bass that Ramona caught.
Yeah,
it was probably close to 2 pounds.
It was a nice one.
And then you caught one bluegill that was really big. Yeah. My Sue's grandfather, I used to hang around him a lot when I was a kid. And he says, them hen-side bluegill, they're good eating. Yeah. And that's about how big that one was. It was a big old hand-sized bluegill. It was of course, I'm talking my hand size, So it was a pretty big bluegill. Let's see. David Tharp says, howdy, everybody. Rod Wintler, good day to you all. Joe Nigan, hello. And there's Ronald Todd says, good afternoon, Jerry and everyone from the West Banks of New Jersey. Sorry I missed the last couple of days. However, I caught the vlog later. Been busy with hospice nurse right now. Ooh, well, I can't say I envy you there. Yeah. God bless you. Hope everything goes well. Let's see. Gino Hitch. Brian Byler was there. And then Gino Hitch says, hi, Jerry and friends. Hope things are going good for you. On way, did the switch the FX? I'm not reading that right. Are going good out your way. Did the switch fix the Polaris? Well, the switch probably won't even be here till Monday. You got to remember, I broke Amazon and they're having trouble getting stuff out now,
They're mad at you.
Yeah, they're mad at me, I guess. It won't be here till Monday, and hopefully it'll be here Monday. Why some things take so long, I don't know. Other things you can get them, like even before they say they're going to get here, sometimes they'll show up early. But other things, seemingly simple things, will just take forever. And of course, those are the things that I'm waiting on, that I really want. Those are the ones that always take forever. David Tharp says, it was pouring down rain and my wife was looking through the window. I thought if it gets any worse, I'd better let her back in. Oh, that would be nice of you. You could do that. Let's see. Bill Rhodes says, good afternoon, Jerry. And then he says, did you get your side-by-side going? No, not yet. I'm still waiting on that switch. I'm not 100% sure that switch is going to fix it, as you probably already understand. But I think it's at least a 50-50 shot that this might fix it. I mean, I think it's a 50-50. If it doesn't fix it, well, then I'm pretty much going to be tearing into that engine. Just going to be... I pretty much know. I've been watching lots and lots of videos to get up to speed on these kinds of engines because, like I told you, I don't know a lot about, fuel injection and all that. And over the last couple of weeks, I've been just watching tons of these kinds of videos. So I understand most of it now, and I think I pretty much can just do it and fix it now if the switch doesn't fix it. So anyway, for what it's worth. Let's see. There's Dottie. She's back. So I read a little comment you had there earlier, Dottie. It said you've been in physical therapy, right? So God bless you. Hope everything's going good. Hope you're not in any pain. The VA doctor was happy with my progress. It's been 1 month and I have almost no limp. Thank you, Lord. Well, that's good. That's real good. It'll only get better. That's good. And then Bill Webb says, good afternoon. You did it again. How you do that?
I do it and give you a thumbs up for your algorithm.
Very good, very good. Well, see, there you go, folks. He even takes time to before he gets on here live, he takes time to give me a thumbs up for the algorithm. Yeah, do that if you would. It does really help. And as I've said to you guys that the truth is, I have no income at this point in my life. I mean, I have a little Social Security, but you know how little that is. And there's not a whole lot of Social Security coming in. And, this is my livelihood right now. So anything you can do to help me out, I appreciate it. I really do. So if you click that thumbs up, it definitely helps. That video on the Martin guitar, the 41 Martin, really did boost it up. It helped me a lot because it was getting pretty darn thin. that did help a lot, but it's thinning down again. So I'm hoping that this guy's harmony is going to pick it back up a little bit. Let's see. Michael 2X says, hey, Rosameister, bad nads. Hi, everyone. There's a lot of usernames here I don't remember seeing. Paul Akers, that's who it is. I know that one, but it's a different username. 8801 says, hey, all. Bill Mumbo's there. And I think Bill Mumbo changed his username, too. I think. Maybe I'm wrong. 2697. Let's see. Anyway, Ronald Todd's there. Glad to hear you're doing better, Dottie. Okay, that's private conversation. Looking for question marks now. Dottie's praying for everybody. Thank you, Dottie. And moving on down. Let's see. I don't see any more things that I need to address, I don't think. David Tharp says, have you ever considered that before was, is? Whew, I'd have to read that one really slow a lot. I'd have to read that one about 3,000 times and read it really slow, and then I'd get it.
Bill's T-shirt.
What's that?
I said, what's on Bill's T-shirt?
What does it say? Mossy Oak.
Mossy Oak.
Trademark 1986.
Yeah,
Mossy Oak trademark 1986.
It's an old worn-out T-shirt.
And mine says, "What would Jerry do?" And that was from all the comments I used to get all the time when I was doing all of the videos on the instruments. People would always email me and say, I was trying to fix this and I didn't know what to do, but then I thought, what would Jerry do? And everybody would say that. I mean, it wasn't just one person, it was a bunch of people. Well, the one guy in my studio heard that, and that John, I can't think of his last name right now, Morose, that's not quite right. But anyway, John got me a whole bunch of these T-shirts for Christmas one year, and I gave them out to my grandkids and family and everybody. And I have a couple left over, so and he drew a caricature of, or he didn't draw it, but he had it drawn, and you can see the mandolin and the horses and all that good stuff. Let's see. Sorry, Bad Ned says, sorry we didn't make it down to see you yesterday. Had to haul and split a few cords of wood. Well, I guess that must be
Yolanda.
Yeah, Yolanda's other half there. Yeah, I guess. Mark. Me and names. You know me and names. I just can't get them off my tongue.
Yeah, there it is.
Didn't know it says, I'm Mark, Yolanda's other, yeah. Well, that's, after you said, sorry, didn't make it down, I pretty much knew that's who it was, but I don't remember seeing that username before. You guys are tricking me up today on the username thing. Michael Tuick says, when is mushroom time? It's always, there are fall mushrooms too, and there's a coral mushroom, and that's what it looks like. It looks like coral, and those are good to eat. There's several other kinds in the fall that I just never did get into, but I think hen of the woods, chicken of the woods, there's several different ones that I know are out there, but I don't know much about them. I only hunt the morels in the springtime. I do know what the corals look like, so I will pick a coral if I see them in the fall. But there are several fall mushrooms. I just don't know much about them. I only do the springtime morels. Let's see. At Impress John 3. Hey, Jerry, if the new switch doesn't fix the problem, I wish you could get your hands on ECM to use to test before you have to tear into that engine. Wish I could help. Well, like I said, I do have two different ECMs. I had bought a used one off of eBay back when I was having other problems with the thing, and I switched those out, and that didn't fix the problem. I found out what the problem was then and fixed it. So I figure I've got two good ECMs there, and I switch them back and forth, and it doesn't seem to affect anything. So I doubt it's the ECM. I really doubt it's that. It might be that. There's two or three things that I think it could be that I can't really rule out right now. One of them is the ECM. It could be that. The other one is the timing. I don't want to get into that if I don't have to, but I will if the switch doesn't fix it. It could be the valves. It could be the timing. It could be the engine just wore out, it needs pretty much a whole rebuild. You just don't know. I doubt it. I don't think that's the case because the compression's very good in the engine. The compression's up to 200. That's pretty darn good compression for an engine as old as this one, as many miles as its sucker's got on it. To have 200 pounds of pressure is pretty darn good. Let's see. Bill Mumble says, Jerry, I think it's YouTube shenanigans. They're always fiddling. Yeah, well, that's true too. David Sharp, I once applied for my job as a joke explainer, but I didn't get it. I got that one, believe it or not. I got that one. Let's see. I noticed a lot. This is Ronald Todd says, and that looks like a different username for Ronald Todd also. I noticed a lot of YouTube channels are using this hype tool. Does it help, and why or how? I do not know even what we're talking about there. Hype tool. HYPE. Does anybody know what that is? Because I have no clue what you're talking about there. Wavy gravy. Inflation has hit everything. A guy wanted a fortune for a cord of wood. After I protested, he said, well, this stuff doesn't grow on trees, you know. Well, it doesn't after you cut it into firewood. That's for darn sure. There's Mark again. Says, honey mushrooms come in the fall. I don't know what those are. I've never heard of that one. Picked them for years since I was a kid with my grandpap. I've never even heard of a honey mushroom. Don't even know what that is. You just made that up. Let's see. Remember the thumbs up. Yes, David Tharp says that. So be sure to click the thumbs up, guys. Like I said, this is my income. And it does help. It really does. And then Mike Saba says, Jerry, did you let Bill run your mini excavator? No, I was afraid. I was going to. I really was. I was hoping that my restrictor valves would have made it more, controllable. But since I didn't feel like it really helped as much as I thought it was going to help, I thought, no, I'm not going to suggest you get in there and try it. I'm not kidding you. It throws you so fast, you have no clue. You have no idea how fast that thing can throw you through that window. It seriously is way faster than it should be. It's amazing how fast that thing can move. And I'm like on eggshells, just barely moving those darn controls, and it just throws them across. Let's see. No, I guess that's it. I saw it bouncing there. I thought there was some more coming in. This evening, we're going to have our play along. And Bill, I'm going to ask Bill to sit in on that. That'll be 7 o'clock this evening. And there's no telling, what we'll be playing then. And if you have a request right now and you want to throw it out there, feel free. Bill Mumbo says, Jerry, the hype button gives points to a channel and YouTube outs it out to more people. Hype button. I've never heard of the hype button. I don't know what that is. Something new, I guess. I didn't know anything about it. Wavy Gravy, what did the mushroom's wife say at her husband's funeral? What a shame. He was such a fun guy. And there's Ronald Todd again. I don't see hype on your vlog, but I did see it on Caleb's channel to boost favorite channel. Well, they probably mad at me. I got to remember, they put me in YouTube jail just a couple of weeks ago, so they probably don't let me have a hype button. David Tharp, I need a hall pass for tonight. I've got to go fly 3 hours tonight. Wow. Well, be careful. Take care. Hope you have a good flight. Well, guys, I'm going to let that be it. I guess I'm going to go get on the skid steer and get a bucket full of river gravel, creek gravel, and dump it in that hole back there, spread it around, and then see if I can find enough flat rocks to lay up around there. I don't know if I can find all that and get that done this evening, but I'm going to give it a shot. Pete Repeat, I think, says, hi, Jerry, a little late, 5:30 here in Sydney. Cool. 5:30 a.m. Wow, I'm surprised you're here at all. Then Mark says, I seen the hype button on Jerry's page. Well, I don't know anything about that. I guess I'm going to have to do some research on that and see what that's all about. But anyway, guys, thank you so much. We will see you this evening at about 7 o'clock. Take care.